Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The question is, have I learned anything about life?
We know what's in front of the desk,
Below the desk.
and even above the desk.
But what about behind the desk?
Let's go to Nino and Shane for the story.
Hi, I'm Nino Allworth from TPTV. Let's get an inside look at your counselors.
I became a counselor because, one, I love school. And I really wanted an opportunity to work with students. I absolutely love working with the students. I love having the interactions with students, answering questions, going over academic planning. We work with students with course selection and to make sure that everyone is on track for graduation. We also work with students as far as post-high school planning. We also work with students to support them emotionally and socially. So, if things are going on at home or here at school with friends, we facilitate communication. So just overall helping students as a whole.
I enjoy thoroughly working with kids and helping them figure out their wants, their needs, and what they want to do after high school. Being a part of that journey is really rewarding. I talk to students about their college list. It's really fun to dive in and with the college research piece and figure out what that college fit looks like.
I'm Nino Allworth from TPTV, signing off.
Now for a story on our wrestling team.
Hey Falcon, here's an insider's look at our school's wrestling team.
Good wrestler, someone who shows up, works hard, embraces the grind that it takes to be a champion, and is willing to go far and above and beyond what other people are willing to do.
To be right now, 'cause I can't get much longer. Man, I've been waiting all night now.
My favorite part about wrestling is how individual it is. You can really specialize in certain techniques, and when you win, it feels really good to get your hand raised.
The aggressiveness, you don't have a lot of sports where you can all out just try to kill the other person and knock him on his, get him on the ground first.
Wrestling taught me a lot about life. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and it's just a great way to sculpt yourself physically and build yourself mentally.
The feeling of taking a kid your size, grabbing him by the arm and throwing him in the air and then having him land flat on his back, there's nothing like it. The adrenaline pumping through you when the ref raises your hand at the end of the match and says that you're the winner, nothing else like it.
There's this quote by Dan Gable that says, "Once you've wrestled, everything else is easy." And I think for me that was a big thing. Like, once you've done this sport, once you've wrestled and gone through everything that the sport has to offer, everything else in life becomes very easy.
I'm Nicole. I'm Sierra, reporting for TPTV.
So we have Monday off next week.
Yeah, Martin Luther King Day. Preventing racism, one poster at a time.
We face the difficulties of today and tomorrow. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream.
Today we're going to be talking about Martin Luther King. He was a civil rights activist who urged preachers and government figures to speak out about the problems of discrimination.
Plessy versus Ferguson and Brown versus Board of Education were monumental in the Martin Luther King timeline in elevating Martin Luther King to the position of power he was in the African American community and the position of power he still holds despite being deceased.
Preface that in 1896, there was a Supreme Court ruling called Plessy versus Ferguson that legitimized separate but equal, that reinforced all the Jim Crow laws. That was America's version of the apartheid system, the legal separation of races. Brown versus Board of Education then was a case that was asked, where the Thurgood Marshall asked the court to revisit and overturn Plessy versus Ferguson.
In 1968, a group of civil rights activists, including Martin Luther King, were arrested and taken to Birmingham jail for peacefully protesting segregation.
I think Birmingham jail is I think one of the more subtle but most powerful messages he ever made. He was imprisoned in jail, I think it was April or May 1963, because of protest, civil disobedience.
Remember that today is not a day to just stay home and play video games, but to respect one of the greatest civil rights activists that ever lived in our country.
That's it for this week's episode.
Later, Falcons.
Wait. Chris?